Good morning, students. We are going to do today the second part of chapter 6 of class 10 political science. Chapter name is political parties. Today we are going to do about how many parties should we have in any country, or on what basis a country chooses that which party system they should have. And then we are also going to do about popular participation in political parties. So let's begin with the first question, that how many parties should we have? Children, in any democracy, any group of citizens is free to form a political party. In this formal sense, there are large number of political parties in each country. For example, when we talk about India, there are more than 750 parties which are registered with the Election Commission of India. But all these parties, they are not serious contenders in the elections. So only a few parties are effectively in the race to win election and form the government. But the question arises here that how many major or effective parties are good for a democracy? How many parties should be there in a democracy to call that the country is a true democratic country? In some countries, only one party is allowed to control and run the government, like in China. We have done in class 9 also that in China there is Communist Party there, which exists over there, Communist Party, which is allowed only to rule the country. So if any member want to be a part of the political system, then they have to register their name only with that Communist Party. They cannot form any other political party in the country. But do you consider that one party system where only one political party will contest the election is a good option for any democratic country? It's just like, children, in your class, if I conduct the elections for the monitorship and only I ask one child to contest the election and I ask all of you to vote, that is same as the one party system. Where is the choice? There is no choice. Whereas we say that in a democratic country, there should be choice. But in China, it is not so. So that is why in China, there is one party system. So any democratic system must allow at least two parties to compete in elections and provide a fair chance for competing parties to come to power. We studied in again 9th class that what is the meaning of a democratic system? A system where at least there are two parties to compete, because when we talk about compete, the term compete or competition, there should be somebody to compete with, something to compete with. Otherwise, you are not competing. So, in a democratic system, it must allow at least two parties to compete in the elections and provide a fair chance for the competing parties to come to power. But it is not happening in many countries like China. We come to the next system, which is called as two-party system or bi-party system also we can call it as. Now, what is this system? In this system, power is usually changes between two main parties. Several other parties may exist. There may be other parties. They also may contest the elections. but there are no chances of winning of these two parties. So always it is only the two main parties which have a serious chance of winning majority of the seats to form the government. Such a party system where only two parties have a serious chance of winning elections or majority of the seats, we call such party as two-party system or bi-party system. This kind of system exists in countries like United States of America and United Kingdom. These are the two examples of this party system. We come to the next slide. Multi-party system or coalition system. Now, when we talk about this multi-party, the term multi-party itself tells the meaning that there are many parties which compete the elections and also have fair chances of winning the elections. So, if several parties compete for power and more than two parties have a reasonable chance of coming to power, either on their own or with an alliance, such a system is called as multi-party system. Children, I am repeating this. In a country where there are several parties which compete for power and more than two parties have a fair chance of coming to power either on their own strength, that means maybe a single party may win the majority of votes, or if they are not winning the majority of votes, they can even go for the alliance or coalition. Such a system in any country, if such a system is there, we call that as multi-party system. Example, India. We have a multi-party system. In this system, the government is formed by various parties coming together in a coalition. Sometimes, if one party does not get the majority of the votes, in that case, that party or any party, those who are getting at least a fair number of votes, they can go for an alliance, that is they can frame a coalition party. Like in India we have examples like NDA, UPA, left parties. These are the examples of the coalition parties or alliance parties. National Democratic Alliance, UPA is United Progressive Alliance. So we have such parties in India which are now the coalition parties. In India, there were such kind of parties from a long time, that is from 1990 onwards. Before that, there were hardly any coalition parties because at that time the state governments were not very popular or they were not very powerful. Most of it was either Congress or it was BJP who used to win the elections, and most of the states also the Congress used to contest the elections. So they used to get the majority of the votes. But from 1990, even the state parties started getting popularity among the people and the votes started getting divided. So at that time, these parties, the major parties like Congress and BJP, they needed alliances. They needed the support from the state parties. That time onwards, the coalition parties became popular. We know when we talk about this coalition parties or multi-party system, they appear very messy. Messy means very complicated they look, and also leads to sometimes political instability. For example, if there are three or four parties together forming a government, there are chances of instability of that government, because if they are not willing for the same policies, or if they are not dividing the powers among them equally, if any of the party takes away their support, in that case, the whole government will fall down. So that is how there is instability whenever there is a coalition party most of the time. But at the same time, this kind of parties, that is multi-party system or a coalition party system, they have one benefit. You can say that the importance of this multi-party system or coalition party system. What is the importance of this multi-party system or a coalition party system? This system allows a variety of interests and opinions to enjoy political representation. That means when there is a coalition party, there are several parties in one party, and several heads are there over there to take the decisions, to discuss the issues, and several people, several representatives are there in that party, several representatives of several categories of the people. So in one way, there are so many people who are participating in the election process, because all these representatives are putting their opinions and interests of the people. So that is how multi-party system or a coalition party system is important, or is having a good objectives. Now the question comes that which of these is a better? Now, is one party system is a better option? Two party system is a better option, or multi-party system is a better option? How a country is, any country, I'm not talking about only India, any country, how is it going to decide that which party system is better? Now, which party system is better, that depends upon the system of the country. Whether the country is a small country, large country, whether the country is having a large population or a small amount of population. It also depends majorly upon the nature of the society, its social and regional divisions. Nature of the society, culture of the society, diversity of the society. It depends upon this, that how large the country is, how varied the population is. For example, when we talk about India, we have such a large, first of all, the country is such a large country. Area wise also, population also, we have a large population. And when it comes to diversity, we are the most diverse country in the world, with so many languages, so many cultures, so many religions, so many, even the regions we have, so many states we have. Can we just have one party system? Do we think that we will be able to accommodate so many varied people in one party? So it is not possible for that. So each country develops a party system that is conditioned by its special circumstances. So whether it is China or India or any country, which kind of party system they should have, that depends upon their circumstances. According to our circumstances of our country, India, we have evolved a multi-party system. Now, children, here there is a very important question coming here, and that is why India adopted multi-party system. Why India adopted multi-party system? And one more question which I have done just now, that is, on what basis any country choose which type of system they should adopt, which type of system they should adopt, that I have already done. Any country, it chooses that which system they should have, that depends upon their historical background of the country, their nature of society, their social society, their regional divisions, their population, etc. Second question, why India adopted multi-party system? India has evolved a multi-party system because the social and geographical diversity in such a large country is not easily absorbed by two or even three parties. That is the answer. That means that our country has so much of diversity. Socially, it is diverse. Geographically, it is diverse. Because it is having so much of diversity, one or two parties will not be able to accommodate a large number of people. That means a large number of people will not be able to participate if there is only one or two parties in our country. That is why, children, we have chosen multi-party system. That's about your party systems. So we have done how many parties should we have. In the world, we have three types of party systems: one party system, two or bi-party system, and multi-party system. And India adopted multi-party system. And also we have done what do we mean by coalition parties. I hope you have followed till here. This is the slide for which system is better, which we have already answered, that which system should we have or any country should adopt. Now we come to the participation in political parties. We also call this as popular participation in political parties. That means how many people are participating in the system of this politics or political system in any country. And a comparison is given that in developed countries and in developing countries, who participate more, who do not participate more. And there are also certain figures, graphs. But children, the graphs I will do from your NCERT book when I'll take your online class, because different books will have the different data. Some children are using old books also. So I'll do that from the latest edition of the NCERT book. Just we'll do the explanation part over there. So popular participation in political parties. There is a very important question which is asked in board exam on this part, that is inverted commas. In the inverted commas it is, success of democracy depends upon popular participation in political parties. Explain. I am repeating. Success of democracy depends upon political participation in political parties. Explain. First, let me explain the part, then I'll again come back to the question. Once you do the part, I'm sure you will be able to understand even the answer for the question also. When we talk about the democracy, we say that there should be more political parties, there should be more choices should be given to the people. So we have given already in India a lot of choices. We have so many political parties. But do you think having only so many political parties is enough? Think for a while that there is election day and nobody goes for elections. What will happen? There are political parties also, we have multi parties also, but the voters don't turn out. They don't go for voting. So the people will not participate. People are not participating. Then will you call that it is a successful democratic country? Obviously no. Answer is no. Unless until people participate in the process of this political system, we cannot call that it is a successful democratic country. Only when the people participate in it, we call that it is a successful democratic country. And you will be surprised that number of participation in India, countries like India which are developing is more than the advanced countries like Canada, Japan, etc. In India, the participation is more than the developed countries. And you know, when we talk about the developed countries who participate in the election process more, if we talk about, for example, USA, it is all the rich people, aristocratic people whom we call rich people, aristocratic people, white colored people, they participate in the elections. Not the blacks who they don't participate in the election process at all. Only few are nowadays participating. So largely it is the rich people who are participating in the election process in the developed countries. But if we see the developing countries, it's exactly vice versa. In a developing country like India, it is the poor people, those who are participating more in the election process. They are the one who participate because they know that that whosoever wins, they have to do work for the upliftment of these poor people. So they are concerned that who will win the election, and they want those persons to win the elections who will do some work for the upliftment of the poor. So in India, the rich people are not at all concerned who wins and who loses the elections. They are not at all bothered. So sometimes when during the election day, when we go for voting, we see that it is most of the common people or the poor people who have come for the elections, but not the rich people. They do not participate much. So, in a democratic country like India, we see a change in the trend that now more people are coming forward to participate in the elections. Now we see that there are more number of members in the political parties. If there were earlier 1,000 members only in the political parties, now we see lakhs of members in the political parties and crores of people are following those political parties. That shows the success of democracy in our country. So that is what is the popular participation when I talk about. So the question I am coming back, success of democracy depends on popular participation in political parties. How many people are participating in the election process? If there are more number of people participating, then we say that yes, the democracy is a successful, there is a successful democracy in the country. But if the people are not participating much, then we don't call that it is a successful democratic system. That is how you can expand that answer and write in your own words also. Then we will go back to that figures and all later on, children. Now we come to the next part of the chapter, that is national political parties. Before I go for the formulas of what is a national party or what is a state party, first of all, we will understand that in democracies, there is a federal system. Many countries have the federal system in the world at present. And many countries have two kinds of political parties. Parties that are present in one federal unit at the center, and there are certain parties at the state level also. For example, children, you have done in Belgium. In Belgium, there is a central government, that is central government parties, which are there are parties which will contest the election at the central government level. There are certain parties which contest the election at the state level. Even like in India also we have the same. So we have two types of parties, national parties and the state parties. And in India, it is the Election Commission of India which holds the whole process of the elections. Again, in ninth class, we have done the complete chapter of election process, how the elections are conducted, what is the role of Election Commission in India. So it is the Election Commission which recognizes these parties. There are certain, every party which wants to contest the elections, they have to enroll themselves with the Election Commission of India. And Election Commission of India gives a unique symbol for the political parties who wish to contest the elections. And they are also given certain privileges and some special facilities, and then they become the recognized political parties. So first of all, before they become state or national parties, every party has to become a recognized political party. So what is a recognized political party? It is a party which enrolls itself with the election commission, and election commission will recognize them, will give them a unique symbol, and also it will give certain privileges and certain special facilities to those parties. Such parties are called as recognized political parties. Now we come to the definition of a national party and a state party. So a national party, first of all, we are going to do a party that secures. This is a formula given by the election commission. So every party has to fulfill this. Then only it will be called as a national party. National party means a party which will contest the elections at the national level, that is for the central government level. For the Lok Sabha elections, that means. That is the national party. So a party that secures at least 6% of total votes in Lok Sabha elections or assembly elections in 4 states. For example, when I talk about Congress or BJP, they are the national parties. There are 7 parties, but I am just taking the example of 2 parties. If I take the example of the Congress party, it should at least secure 6% of the total votes in the country in the Lok Sabha elections, and also it should contest the elections at least in the 4 states. Minimum 4 states. It can contest in all the states, but minimum 4 states, and at least win in 4 states. That kind of party is called as the national party. That's the formula, or you can say the definition, which is given by the election commission, which will come back to the national parties later on. Then we'll do all this in the next video after we do the state parties, the definition for the state parties. We now do the definition for the state parties. Now, first of all, a state party is a party which will contest election in its state or maybe the neighboring state also. And they will look after the needs of the state. So, a party that secures at least 6% of the total votes in an election to the legislative assembly. What is legislative assembly? Every state will have again a legislative assembly, just like Lok Sabha at the center. In the parliament, we have the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Same way, in the state level, we have the legislative assembly and legislative council. So, legislative assembly is same as your Lok Sabha at the center. So, legislative assembly will work in the state level. So, any party that secures 6% of total votes in the election to the legislative assembly of a state and wins at least 2 seats is recognized as a state party. So children, in the next class, we will do how many national parties we have. So I am repeating that in the next class, we will do how many parties we have. So on the basis of that formula which is given for national parties, children, we have 7 national parties which we will discuss in the next video. So have a good day, students.